not a roboticist, Isaac Asimov has had a large influence on the field. His robot stories have inspired many to go into the field of robotics. And his famous 3 laws of robotics have been at the core of many conversations and scientific papers on the ethics of robotics. For example, in 2007, science fiction author Robert J. Sawyer argued in a guest editorial of the journal Science that because the military is a major source of funding in robotic research, it was not so likely that the laws would be incorporated into the designs of robots. Also that year, the South Korean government announced that it would issue a robot ethics charter, and a representative from the Ministry of Information and Communications said the charter might reflect Asimov's 3 laws. The 3 laws of robotics were first introduced in the short story Runaround, published in the March 1942 issue of Astounding magazine. The story takes place on Mercury, and because of Mercury's close proximity to the Sun, it was kind of a challenge to really make use of the mining resources of that planet. However, these mining resources were so valuable, it was worth giving it a second chance. So the main protagonists, Gregory Powell and Mike Donovan, convinced the government that because of the advances in robotics that had happened in the interim years since the first expedition, that they could make the Sunside mining station work. They sent out their robot, nicknamed Speedy, to investigate the nearest pool of selenium, a valuable resource. After 5 hours had passed, they realized that something was wrong. Checking the monitors, they found that the robot was circling the pool of selenium. He wasn't going closer to the pool, and he certainly wasn't coming back. So they were forced to go and investigate what was going on, using the only robots left, which were old models that, because of fears about robots, these robots could not move unless a human was riding on their back. And they were wearing exosuits that didn't quite protect them from Mercury's environment. Here's a short, edited selection from Isaac Asimov's short story, Runaround. Robot SPD-13 was near enough to be seen in detail now. His graceful, streamlined body threw out blazing highlights as he loped with an easy speed across the broken ground. His name was derived from his serial initials, of course, but it was apt nevertheless, for SPD models were among the fastest robots turned out by United States Robot and Mechanical Men Corporation. "Hey, Speedy," howled Donovan and waved a frantic hand. "Speedy," shouted Powell, "come here." The distance between the men and the errant robot was being cut down momentarily, more by the efforts of Speedy than the slow plodding of the 50-year-old antique mounts of Donovan and Powell. They were close enough now to notice that Speedy's gait included a peculiar rolling stagger, a noticeable side-to-side lurch, and then Speedy looked up and saw them. Speedy hopped to a halt and remained standing for a moment with just a tiny, unsteady weave, as though he were swaying in a slight wind. Powell yelled, "All right, Speedy, come here, boy." Whereupon Speedy's robot voice sounded in Powell's earphones for the first time. It said, "Hot dog, let's play games. You catch me and I catch you. No love can cut our knife in two, for I am Little Buttercup. Sweet Little Buttercup, whoops!" Turning on his heel, he sped off in the direction from which he had come, with a speed and fury that kicked up gouts of baked dust. Donovan said weakly, "Where did he pick up Gilbert and Sullivan? Say, Greg, he's drunk or something." Speedy isn't drunk, not in the human sense, because he's a robot, and robots don't get drunk. However, there's something wrong with him that is the robot equivalent of drunkenness. To me, he's drunk, stated Donovan emphatically. And all I know is he thinks we're playing games, and we're not. It's a matter of life and a very gruesome death. All right, don't hurry me. A robot is only a robot. Once we find out what's wrong with him, we can fix it and go on. Speedy is perfectly adapted to normal Mercurian environment. But this region, and his arms swept wide, is definitely abnormal. There's our clue. Listen, Mike, what did you say to Speedy when you sent him after the selenium? Donovan was taken aback. Well, damn it, I don't know. I just told him to get it. Yes, I know, but how? Try to remember the exact words. I said, Speedy, we need some selenium. You get it at such and such a place. Go get it. That's all. What more did you want me to say? You didn't put any urgency into the order, did you? What for? It was pure routine. Hal sighed. Well, it can't be helped now, but we're in a fine fix. Now look, let's start with the 3 fundamental rules of robotics. The 3 rules that are built most deeply into robots' positronic brain. In the darkness, his gloved fingers ticked off each point. We have 1. A robot may not injure a human being or through inaction allow a human being to come to harm. Right. 2, continued Powell, a robot must obey the orders given it by human beings, except where such orders would conflict with the first law. Right. And 3, a robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second laws. Right. Now where are we? Exactly at the explanation. The conflict between the various rules is ironed out by the different positronic potentials in the brain. We'll say that a robot is walking into danger and knows it. The automatic potential that Rule 3 sets up turns him back. But suppose you order him to walk into that danger. In that case, Rule 2 sets up a counter potential higher than the previous one, and the robot follows orders at the risk of its existence. Well, I know about that. What about it? Let's take Speedy's case. Speedy is one of the latest models, extremely specialized, and as expensive as a battleship. It's not a thing to be lightly destroyed. So Rule 3 has been strengthened. That was specifically mentioned, by the way, in the advanced notices on the SPD models. So that his allergy to danger is unusually high. At the same time, when you sent him out after the selenium, you gave him his order casually and without special emphasis. So that rule number 2 potential was set up rather weak. Now hold on, I'm just stating the facts. All right, go ahead. I think I get it. You see how it works, don't you? There's some sort of danger centering at the selenium pool. It increases as he approaches. And at a certain distance from it, the Rule 3 potential, unusually high to start with, exactly balances the Rule 2 potential, unusually low to start with. Donovan rose to his feet in excitement. And it strikes an equilibrium. I see. Rule 3 drives him back, and Rule 2 drives him forward. So he follows a circle around the selenium pool, staying at the locus of all points of potential equilibrium. And unless we do something about it, he'll stay in that circle forever, giving us the good old runaround. Then more thoughtfully, and that, by the way, is what makes him drunk. at potential equilibrium, half the positronic paths in his brains are all out of kilter. I'm not a robot specialist, but that seems obvious. Probably he's lost control of those parts of his voluntary mechanism that a human drunk has. Very pretty. The conclusion of the story uses the logic of the 3 rules to get Speedy out of his equilibrium. But you'll have to read the story yourself to find out how.